Many thanks for staying with us on our program, The Conversation. And today we'll look into an essential aspect of governance and development. That is the achievement of labor in 2024 and projections for the, is it coming year? Or the year 2025. We can't call it the coming year anymore for the year 2025. Now, labor plays a pivotal role in fostering economic growth, ensuring the welfare of workers, and maintaining industrial harmony. I like that. So joining us this morning to shed light on these achievements and share insight into the plans for 2025 is Comrade Olusegun Rhamon Balogun. Is the chairman of the Lagos State Public Service Joint Negotiating Council and a Senior Civil Servant Association of Nigeria. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
So I'd like us to start this way. What would you consider the most significant achievement of labor here in Lagos State in the year 2024?
Thank you very much, and I want to wish all our viewers a happy new year. And for us as a labor, the major significant achievement we recorded in 2024 was the implementation of the new minimum wage. And I have to give that to the government of Lagos State, and especially Mr. Babajide Olusegun for approving the new minimum wage of 85,000 naira in Lagos State. And the implementation started in November with the payment of arrears, 3 months arrears. It started in November with the payment of 1 month arrears, and December with another 1 month arrears, and then the last arrears will be paid in January, this January 2025. And added to that is also the 13th month salary, which is the 100% of our basic salary. So 50% of it has been paid in December. Then we'll collect the balance of 50% in January. So far, so good. We've had it so rosy in Lagos State. You know, we all know what has been happening in the country generally. But because we have a listening government, a listening governor, and at the same time, we also have the union that is very effective and efficient when it comes to negotiation, because we had to, sit together with the government side and agree on the consequential adjustment of that new minimum wage to reflect the two realities of the economic situation in Lagos State.
Okay, beyond the salary adjustments, were there other social benefits that workers enjoyed in the year 2024?
Yes. If you remember the year 2024, we had this issue of salary table distorted, defective that time since 2011. So before we went into negotiation of this new minimum wage, we did a kind of analysis whereby we adjusted that salary table, and it's cumulated to a situation whereby there were some increases that went into.
Was that what about the 20% increase?
No, it was not even 20%.
Okay.
It was before, I think it was after the 20%, we realized that Lagos State was paying 35,000 minimum wage, plus the 20% increment that Mr. Governor added to it, then our minimum wage went into like 42,000 minimum. You now find out that if you're level 16 officer, being promoted to like level 17, your salary drops.
Yeah.
That was when we got to know that there was some kind of issues with that salary table. So we have to sit together and then try to amend it and adjust those areas where there are differences. As a result of that, majority of the workers got a kind of increment in that salary table before we actually came to the negotiating table to discuss about the minimum wage. If we have not done that, we'll have changed ourselves. So we want to give it to Mr. Governor for even approving that one at the same time before we went into negotiation.
Okay, still talking about that, still talking about that salary structure table. I've also noticed that, the higher you go, the percentage, for
decreases.
Yes, it decreases. Why is it so? How do you come about that?
Yeah, so if you remember, this negotiation started from the federal government. The two labor centers negotiated for it, and they came up with a kind of table with the percentages. Do you understand? So what we asked for was to domesticate that percentages in Lagos. But fortunately for us, what Lagos State was paying us at that time was even more than what the federal did.
Federal, yes.
You see,
Yes.
there are technical areas when it comes to, we can't just apply the salary, the percentage across board like that. Unlike what happens to when the wage awards was paid. Wage awards was paid across board. There was no seniority in those areas. You understand? And when the new minimum wage was presented to Mr. Governor, it was something lesser then. That was when the government was claiming that they were already paying more than what the minimum wage was then, which was 70,000. Because our own minimum person staff was getting then was like 77,000 naira. That was wage award. So now the wage award has been removed, and then we've been able to now structure the real emolument whereby the seniority will reflect. So if you're saying 13% for the least person, if you have to apply that to like level 17, level 17 will be earning more than what Mr. Governor will be earning. So we have to structure, the higher you go, you understand, the higher your distance becomes. So there's no way it won't reflect that seniority. Do you understand? When it comes to the adjustments.
Aside the minimum wage that has been sorted, what are some other challenges that the labor force experienced in 2024, and how were they resolved?
Yeah, we had series of issues, especially when it comes to domestication of allowances has been done at the federal level. So what we'll do at the GNC level is for us to sit together, agree on it, and then put up a correspondence to the government for the implementation of such allowances. For example, we're still expecting, as part of to cushion this effect for the core civil servant in the public service, 40% of peculiar allowance. Even what we negotiated, if you look at all the salary scales, it's only the core civil servant that does not have an allowance that is peculiar to them to say, okay, as you being a civil servant, you have these allowances for you.
Sorry, when you say core civil servants,
we're talking about those in the mainstream.
In the mainstream.
The ministries and all of that, So it's quite different.
We are public
You're public servants. You're public servants. So you have some kind of allowances that are peculiar to you. You understand? It's different from those ones. It's the same thing goes for coins when we talk about the medical and all of that. So they also have peculiar allowances. So when we're discussing negotiating minimum wage, we have what binds all of us together. There are about 8 components, where you have the basic, rent, utility, transport, all of that. So once that one is determined, every other allowance is just a function of the basic. It's just a percentage. Once you put in that percentage, you just roll out what your entire emolument will be for that month.
Okay,
so that's it.
So still talking about challenges, when you were negotiating this new minimum wage, were there any significant challenges in implementing such agreements, such as new minimum wage or even other welfare packages?
Yeah, there were challenges, just that might not be known to you.
Okay.
So, there are committees on the government side and then on the labor side. There are some elements that were in that emolument that we felt were not supposed to be part of our, emolument. So we had to ask the government side to remove them for us to be able to agree to what we agreed on. We went back and forth, and at the end of the day, we had to agree to it. So specifically is the leave bonus. At the time, the leave bonus was part of the emolument. We now felt it shouldn't be. It should be removed and paid on a yearly basis, just like the government has been paying it. So we're able to achieve that with the government. We agreed before we signed the agreement.
Okay. I just got a clearance that I can, ask you this. There are some agencies of the state government that are yet to pay this
the new minimum wage.
This new minimum wage. And of course, for a station like LTV, we have our union, have been making noise about it. Why are some of these agencies singled out, and what can the union, further do apart from, just talking about it?
Yeah, the solidarity is there. Your union are also part of the GNC. And when we agreed on this new minimum wage, there was a circular released by the Office of the Head of Service, also addressing these agencies too. And the onus lies on the union there to also engage the management. Even if the management does not have that capacity to do that, they can probably liaise with the state government to fashion how are they going to do that and how are they going to pay that. I'm very sure Mr. Governor is ready to assist any agencies that have issues in the payment of this new minimum wage. Just that the management has to, probably put a memo forward requesting for the implementation of the new minimum wage in those agencies.
Okay, you've heard it all, colleagues. Yeah, we've talked about it.
All right, I want to talk about feedback mechanisms. Now, the GNC houses all unions in Lagos. So how do you ensure that you gather feedback from workers to know the peculiarity of what they need?
Yeah, at the level of GNC, we do meet on a yearly basis. And we have resolutions that have been taken, probably like the one we did last year. And what we'll do is we try to monitor to see if those resolutions has been implemented. I'm very sure the Ministry of Establishment and Training will be working on another meeting. So before we go into that meeting, they will have to write all those agencies based on the resolution we've reached to ask if those resolutions has been taken. And even on the level of the union, we have different platforms whereby we get information, feedback, as to what they want or probably what they've been agitating for, if it has been implemented. So before we go into proper meeting, the GNC union side sits to meet and discuss on all of these issues. And we look at rationale behind, do you understand, the implementation of all of these issues that are discussed. If they had not been implemented, so definitely we're going to take it back to the General House, the council meeting, and also those ones will form matters arising. Those are the issues we'll trash first to see why has they not been implemented. It could be as a result, probably they required one information or the other, either from the agency or from the union, which has not been provided, which probably hinders the implementation of such policies before we go into the substantive issues or new issues I wanted to bring in. So that is the way we get our information and probably feedback from our members.
Okay. So now, away from the feedback and mechanism, let's look at the skills development of the state workers. What steps have been taken by the Labour to ensure that they will upskill Lagos state workers, especially in the public service, to of course enhance productivity?
Right? Yeah, you're very right. Thank God we have the ministry in charge of that, and that is the Ministry of Establishment and Training. And they've been helping and doing when it comes to that. Before I go into that aspect, let me talk about the aspect of the labor, because what we try to do on our own part too was to try to train and retrain our members, because we find out that when it comes to the level of negotiation, there are some issues that you're not even supposed to bring to the negotiating table. Now, when you bring it, the government will look at like you as if you don't know what you're talking about. So the techniques of negotiating and all of that, we're doing that to our members, and then upscaling the development of staff of the public service. You see, depending on your professions, I'm very sure the majority of the professions has their, what is it called? Peculiar training, and then their professional bodies. Because in the system now, if you don't have the required professional qualification. Do you understand? You will not be allowed to get to a certain level, meaning that you have to be part of your professional body. You know, on a yearly basis, they do training and retraining of their members to ensure that they fit in with the current realities or challenges of that profession.
Okay.
And that was what the government, in fact, government also tried to even sponsor majority of member of staff to ensure that they also upskill their skill to actually meet the current challenges of what we're doing. And Ministry of Establishment and Training has been doing that. You know, we also have institute, that is Public Service Staff Development Center, that is in Magodo. And it has also been, you know, upgraded in such a way that, you know, majority of members of staff from level 1 to 12 they've been sending to, Magodo for training as well. I'm very sure in 2024, a quite number of, you know, staff had this opportunity in that area.
Okay, so this is a new year now. We are in 2025, and what are the primary goals of the GNC towards ensuring that workers are adequately taken care of in the state?
Yeah, thank you very much. As part of the negotiation we had in 2024, Mr. Governor did promise that in 2025 he is going to increase the new minimum wage to 100,000 naira.
January, right?
And yeah, January, and we want to, I believe, without even agitating, that Mr. Governor will do that. And then on the side of the union, we will not also rest. We also call the attention of the government to the promise made. Do you understand? And that is one aspect. And then for us to, we're trying to look at the aspect of the health. Do you understand? There's this health management insurance, health insurance. And thank God for Mr. Governor has also increased the benchmark for members of staff. Then in 2024 was the list that has been paid. The last time we met with him, he said he has approved for us to even have a better package. And then now, with the law now that has been promulgated, that we have to have this universal insurance coverage. So Lagos State now is domesticating that law now, meaning that the entire residents of Lagos State should also be part of this. Do you understand? So whereby you have this health insurance scheme. And a lot of member of staff has not taken advantage of the health insurance scheme in Lagos State. I don't know if you have registered as well. Do you understand? So you should have your hospitals. If you have any issues, we've been advocating, talking about it a lot from the side of the union. If you have any issue, by the time you get to these healthcare providers and you've not been taken care, let us know. We know how we can escalate it, because it's a scheme that has to work in Lagos State. Even the artisans, road mechanics, and all of that are also coming on board, that everybody must have this insurance scheme in Lagos State. So we want to have a kind of society that is healthy in Lagos State, and that is why the government is trying as much as possible to ensure that they do the needful. In ensuring this, you remember that we now have 6 health districts, primary health district, where we have permanent secretaries heading these agencies. It is for better, do you understand, management and coordination of these primary health care centers in these districts, so that you don't need necessarily to go to the tertiary, what is it called, healthcare facilities before you have quality healthcare, except when it gets to a situation whereby those primary healthcare can't handle such ailment before you get a referral to, do you understand, a higher healthcare provider. So it's already working, and let's continue to talk about it. Let's everybody come on board. The Lagos State Health Management Agency is there to offer any assistance. You have the Ilere Eco and all of that that they're doing. So, and it's actually working. It's working. Yeah.
I'm glad you talked about health, where they say health is wealth.
Yeah.
Another pressing need for workers in Lagos is housing. And I know the state government is doing a lot, or has done a lot. I even see them. Are there any plans for more, housing schemes for workers in Lagos State?
Yes. In fact, there was one we agitated for.
Okay.
Let me put that of the housing. We're even talking about government to build mass housing scheme for rent.
Okay.
So that, majority of our staff stays at the borderline, and then them committed to
Commuting, yeah.
is a very serious challenge. If government can come up with even 2 bedrooms, 32 bedrooms, rent it to member of staff, very close to where they're working. Do you understand? They still be paying rent. Do you understand? So that has been noted in the office of the head of service. I'm very sure they're coming up with a lot of what is it called, arrangement on that. And aside that, Lagos Homes is there. I think we still have some scheme that has not been allocated. We have as a rent to own. Yeah, we have one in Otuonosa in Agoa. We have series of 2 bedrooms that have been, built. I think it's been commissioned by Mr. Governor, waiting for allocation. And then they're building one in Ibeshi. That's the second phase. And then another one is I think Shogutedo. So we have series of, do you understand, and other areas that are trying to open up. So what we will try to do as a union is for us to also continue to collaborate, with the government to ensure that effective and then affordable housing scheme is provided for members of staff. I've seen a lot of people that have come to me that they want to, who are members of staff. Don't even forget that we also have rebate of 40%. It's not the same amount that is being paid, that the outsider has paid, the members of staff paid. You are entitled to 40% of a rebate of whatever cost that is going to be, and we give that to the government of Lagos State.
I just hope that the housing schemes is more accessible.
It is accessible. It is accessible. More accessible. Okay, it's all right then.
Yeah.
All right, I want to talk about motivational incentives, and of course, again, it is a new year. So how does the GNC intend to ensure that public servants remain motivated even in the new year to be productive at what they do?
Yeah. Like I said, we continue to engage stakeholders when it comes to welfare issues of our members. Like I said, the issue of 100,000 minimum wage, we won't rest. We'll continue to engage the government to ensure that that is done. And at the same time, we also fought for something. For those that work in these human resource agencies, whereby there are a lot of attritions when people are posted there, because what they do there is something that has to do with is more or less the psychological, effect when it comes to them. Because unlike other agencies where they have project, they perform thinking that they'll have something, but these people don't have anything. For you to be able to allow them to work, we fought for 25%. We call it 25% incentive allowance for those agencies. I mean, for those officers that works in those agencies. Once you're posted there, automatically Oracle will pick that allowances for you. So when you get there, you get that allowance apart from the ones we've negotiated, already. Or if you find yourself out of the place, definitely Oracle will remove that allowance. So it's part of the incentives that we've been fighting for. And then various unions, medical, NOHAB, they also have this retention, attrition allowance, and then that we've been fighting for all the while. Once it's been the circular has been passed from the federal government, so we bring it to the agency, to GNC, for us to just look at it. Okay, how can we domesticate it? So what we do now is, once we agree on it, then we'll forward it to the government for the domestication of those allowances. Just like you are here to, I want to believe there should be some kind of allowances you should be entitled to, and I know your unions are also fighting for that, except if they have not been implementing that. Okay. I'm very sure of that.
Okay. For enhanced productivity, let's look at digital transformation in the civil service. As technology continues to evolve, what is planned for ensuring full digitization of
our operations.
Workplaces, yes.
Yeah, thank you very much. The last public service week we did, I think I was invited to be part of the panelists. And then we talked about this inclusive development strategy, strategy for the public service. Then I did mention that the way forward was for us to fully digitalize the operation of the public service. I am aware that Edo State is already doing that. And though Lagos State has been doing it, but we're still not there yet because we're still carrying file. In terms of our payroll now, we've gone fully digitalized on that. Do you understand? And there has been training when it comes to how you want to be writing your submissions, on how you pass it to the next person, from next person before you get approval, before it moves. I also attended a training on that aspect too. But we're now waiting for the full implementation of that so that all these file things will be part of it. And even now, the supply of laptops is already ongoing in some agencies so that officers or scheduled officers in that bit can start doing that aspect. So I think it's for the government now to now come up probably with a circular for us to now fully digitalize our operation so that we can stop, taking files. In fact, if that happens, it will increase access, it will improve productivity, and also reduce corruption. Because whatever you have to do will be online, the next person will see it. If there's anything that goes wrong there, they can also trace it to see who did it the last time. Do you understand? So that's what we're waiting for. If Lagos State can do that now, I can give it to you that we're going to be the best in the entire public service of the nation.
About these laptops going around officers in the civil service. Anyway,
we'll get there.
We will get there.
So I also want to talk about our public perception of civil servants.
Oh.
Yeah. So how is GNC also helping to enhance public perception about civil servants in Lagos?
That has changed long ago. It has changed long ago. Let me start from the issue of our hospitals. The public hospital is where you can get the best quality health service. Even if you go to the private hospital, if there's any complications or whatever, the referrals still go to the public hospitals.
But how
do you understand?
One now get over the long wait or the long queue?
Bottlenecks.
It's just that people don't want to be patient. Do you understand? Once it happens abroad, if you go to public health facilities, you have to take time, except if it is except if it is an emergency. And once it gets a kind of emergency, of course, you know what will happen. They will take you in immediately. But if it's not an emergency, of course, that, we also have this lot of jackpots when it comes to this attrition, when it comes to doctors and the nurses. So they're just managing, the ones they have. And then the government is also trying, they're also recruiting, doctors and nurses now. All those medical practitioners and all of that. But once you get to the hospital, get your file, not even with this Ilaria code that we're talking about. Not necessarily that you have to go to the hospital. There's a number you can call that you can talk directly to the doctors. Do you understand? And even when prescription is being given to you, there are pharmacies you can even go to that you get drugs and not necessarily from the hospital, if it is not something that is so critical. Do you understand? And even for cancer cases whereby you need assistance. There's a program in Lashma there that they can even offer help, at least to the tune of 5 million if you need. So everything is just that people don't have this information and are not taking advantage of what we have there. The information is there. Even on a platform, GNCs, and even Lashma is doing a lot. They are there, talking about it, doing jingles and all of that. And we're also helping them to also, pass this information. And that's what I'm saying it now, that we have it. Let people come and assess it. It's very, very important.
Okay, I want to talk about something a bit personal.
No problem.
I want to talk about the relationship between the Lagos State Union and, of course, the state government. You people seem to have a smooth relationship. You know, what do you do? How did you get there?
Like I said the other time that we have a listening governor. Don't forget the fact that there was some kind of fracas sometimes.
A while ago.
Yeah, and then Mr. Governor called us to a meeting, and then we expressed our mind, and then he understood our own side of the story, and he directed that we should try to collaborate with the government side for us to move ahead. We don't fight because we're union members of intellectuals. We have union members of intellectuals whereby we know what we are doing. We don't necessarily present issues that are not workable to the government, because before we present anything, we'll have gone through it and see that the government has capacity to do it. And then even in a situation whereby government comes up with excuses that they can't do that, of course we negotiate, we agreed on some certain times. They understand, not necessarily that they have to do it that time. They can do it at another time. For example, the staff cutting in the secretariat now is being pulled down for reconstruction. We've been on it for the past 2 years. But at the end of the day, they got the approval, and because we believe that we should have something befitting for our members, within Alasa secretariat complex. So we continue to remind the government of some issues we believe that will be of benefit to our members of staff. And at the end of the day, they get to do it. In fact, we got to a situation whereby you see us keep repeating an issue. When Mr. Governor says, I think I have done this. You understand? We now how that this has to be done immediately. And that's what he's been able to do. In fact, most of the agreements that we had that were signed in this minimum wage, almost about 70 to 75% has been implemented so far. And then at least we are getting there, and it's doing very well for us. Just for the agencies you just mentioned, he has given his own approval. Let those agencies also come up and work towards implementing those approval Mr. Governor has given. It is also very, very important.
So as GNT, excuse me, as GNT, what are you also doing to ensure that those agencies are put on their toes?
Is solidarity. Okay, what we'll do now is, maybe in the next 1 week now, we have to call the GNC meeting of the trade union side, and for us to also review, do you understand, this implementation of this minimum wage, for us to know which union or probably the agency that has not implemented, for us to come up with modalities of how we're going to come after them.
All right, we've talked about government has done this, government has done that. On the part of the workforce, what do you expect from them also, even in this year, 2025?
Yeah, it's for us to rededicate ourselves, to be committed, and to ensure that the developmental agenda of Mr. Governor is well implemented, because without us, nothing can be done. Do you understand? And on a weekly basis, I do charge our members to always rededicate themselves towards the commitment we've shown to Mr. Governor, to ensure that all the policies of government are well and fully implemented.
Okay, just before we go, I'd like to ask our colleague Ajibola if he has a question for. Sorry for putting you on the spot. Ajibola, do you have any questions for our guest?
You have taken all the questions. My only concern is how I'm going to get my minimum wage. And
minimum
of course,
wage, yeah.
Get rostered on the Oracle database of Lagos State.
Okay.
That's my New Year resolution. Okay.
You've heard it?
Yeah, I've heard it. I think your union are also doing very well. That case has been presented over the years at the GNC meeting. And your union has also done their bit. They went around, they did a kind of research, and part of the recommendation was that this station is a service station and not necessarily, a profit-making organization. Probably maybe the government is not looking at that side. The agitation is that the members of staff of this agency should be on Oracle. So whatever you make, you get, go into the consolidated what is it called, account, and then from there they draw your emolument. So the government will be able to probably track and monitor whatever that comes in through this agency. And then there's also need to also upgrade this agency as well to also compete with those private what is it called? Media houses. It's also very important. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you very much.
All right, we thank you very much, Comrade Olusegun Rhamon Balogun,
Thank you.
Chairman, Lagos State Public Service Joint Negotiating Council and Senior Civil Servant Association of Nigeria, Lagos State. Thank you so much for joining us on the conversation today.
Thank you.
The conversation continues after this. Stay with us.